something that is very structured and has high quality questions, because you don't have time to explore a large set of questions, and you don't have the bandwidth to go deep into hard questions as well. So you need to limit your preparation, but make sure that it's of high quality, so that whatever is asked, you'll be able to solve it in a good manner. So if you are in that period where all these opportunities are coming, just prepare a list. Start off with the more tougher topics, so that you have time for understanding and getting a strong grasp on them, because they don't focus on easy questions these days. They go for graphs, trees, uh, and other more complicated and interrelated data structures. So I think that would be a reasonable approach. Does that answer your question? Thank you so much for saying that. That approach, because what you spoke about of learning, the intuition-based learning, that is something that I discovered after 2 to 3 failed attempts of what people were saying on YouTube. So I'm very glad that it worked for you as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Could you
No
please, if
problem.
you don't mind, could you accept my LinkedIn request also, if you don't mind?
Sure. What's your can you send your
Mine
ID
as
or
well.
status? Okay, if you guys send your profiles
Yeah,
on the chat, I can probably do that, because I have like 4,000 pending requests, so it's a little difficult for me to see through that and find your names.
Everyone, we have a celebrity with us.
Oh no.
Sure, Neha, your question would be addressed first, but please just give us like 2 or 3 minutes till then everyone's joined because it's like 7 p.m., 7:01. So at 7:05 we'll start and we'll start the session with your question. Then with the flow of the session, and then after the Q&A session, you can all ask your questions related to anything like mainly the session is based on SWE internships. So we expect there are so many LinkedIn. Please don't spam the chat. Okay. So yes, after explaining the main topic that is SWE internship, you can ask your questions. Then we can move forward with different kind of questions that you may have, like intuition-based learning or about any other thing. Okay. And in the meantime, we have so many new folks that joined us. We have Ashi. Hi Ashi. Hello Ayushi. Hello Aditri. Hi Anu. Hi Bhumika. Hello Devishi. Hi Divya. Um, Hello Gauri. Hi Harshita. We have two Harshita here. Nice. Hi Hina. Hi Ishita. Hi Kamakshi. Hi Kriva. Hi Medha. Hi Naga. Janvi. Hi Nandini. Hi Neha. Oh, we have, I guess, yes. Hi Raja. Hi Rajita. Hi Sanju. Hi Shilpa. Hey Shri. Hey Shreya. Hi Sneha. Hi Srija. Hi Srimay. Hi Vanshika. Hi Lakshmi. Nice. I need to
Some
take.
dedicated host we have today, acknowledging everyone. That's
Yes,
pretty
oh,
cool.
thank you so much. And with this, we have 32 amazing girls with us. Just 2 minutes more, okay? Hang on, then we'll start the session. In the meantime, yes, quick audience check. You can tell us in which year you are, like if you are in first year, type 1, if you are in second year, type 2, and if you are in third year, type 3, and if you are in fourth year, type 4, and if you are not working, like student, type 0, okay? So that we get an idea and Divina can direct the flow of this session according to the type of audience that we will be having in this session. Okay. So yes, two, 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 one, 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 two, 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 three. We have Sneha and Nandini from third year, and rest are first and second. So it's a mixed audience, like 50-50 first and second year, and like some are from third year as well. Nice. Go on, everyone. I need the response from everyone. So please be active. Yes. Just 1 minute to go and we'll be starting it officially. Okay. I guess this answers your question, Devina. You get an idea of the audience.
This is helpful. Thank you, guys. So,
Okay,
yes, that
so
was quite.
let's start the session. First of all, the formal thing, but that is very necessary about the introduction. So, everyone, it's our honor to have official Googler with us. We got to know now in this session only. That's our honor. And we have Divina Pooja John with us, who is currently an official Googler and has a lot of achievements. Like she's been Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, Google V Scholar, Google Step Intern, Google SWE Intern, and have also been very active in her college societies and clubs and extracurricular activities. And yes, the session is going to be very insightful, interesting, and valuable. Over to you, Divina. And if I miss something, you can introduce yourself, and the stage is all yours.
Definitely. Uh, Before I begin, everyone can hear me and see me.
Yes, I guess most of the person have reacted with a thumbs up. That means they are able to see you. Okay, maybe there is a network connection. No worries. She'll be on her way. Uh, till then, just give us a minute. It's amazing to host like a Googler on Google Meet talking about Google things. Isn't it
Hello,
actually
can
great?
you hear me?
Yes, now you're audible.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Because I was just, it was showing me a little bit of a warning sign, so I just wanted to ensure that all of us are on the same page. Okay, so yes, the primary goal of this session is to
Your
talk
camera
about.
is not visible, Divina. I'm so sorry to
Oh,
interrupt.
is it visible now?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So the session has been titled a preparation session for the SWE internship. So Google SWE internship is a 3 month internship, 2.5 to 3 month internship that is offered and this in the summer break of your third year of engineering. And the selection process for the same happens 1 year prior to the internship. That is, it happens July, August, September of your the it happens right in the starting of your third year. And there's another round in case, because right now it's December and there might be a few folks who are in their third year who might be thinking, oh, I missed the window. But there is a second round of selection for the summer internship which happens in the end of Jan and Feb as well. So the main hiring happens in the months of July, August, but the second round happens in Jan end as well, where they take a few folks for their summer internship. So I think this session will be helpful for everyone. You don't need to feel like you missed out on the opportunity because it's December. There is still a chance for you to get in. And for the folks, majority of our audience is in the first and second year. So the preparation for SWE internship is just an extension of the preparation for STEP internship. Now, STEP internship, the difference is it's the internship that takes place in the summer of your second year. So after your fourth semester, you get a break, and that's when the internship takes place. And the selection for that is happening right now. So if you are in your your third semester must be ending and your fourth semester must be starting. If you are in that phase, or if you're in your second year currently, then STEP internship would be the immediate next opportunity for you. And for the folks who are in your first year, the Google We Scholarship Program is the immediate next opportunity for you. That selection takes place starting December and January. So that is a 2 year scholarship program which is offered by Talent Sprint, supported by Google, where it's not an internship, it is a training program where they train you in DSA and other technical skills so that you have a very competitive profile. So these are the three opportunities. Now, based on your current standing, you yourself will be able to map out which is the right one for you. Now, talking about the internships, that is the SWE and the STEP internships, how does the process take place? Um, some of your Google will visit certain colleges, that is certain IITs, BITS, and more high-profile colleges. Of late, they've been visiting more colleges, so there's a higher chance that your college will be there in the list. How do you find out? You ask your seniors, you ask around if Google has visited in the past. If it has, then it will come again this year, high chance. If it hasn't, then you will have to apply off campus. So there's the two things. One is on campus and one is off campus. So if it is on campus, then all of you will get a chance to write the online test, provided your college allows you to. So from Google side, they don't do too much shortlisting for on campus when it comes to the online test. But let's say your college keeps only a 9-point GPA or an 8.5 plus can attend the selection process, then you'll have to fit into that bracket. And then you'll have an online test. In the online test, they'll have two questions. You have 60 minutes to solve, and if your code passes all the test cases, or it comes close to passing all the test cases, you will go to the interview stage. Now, for off campus, what happens is you apply through the career page in the Google site, and if your resume has been selected by a recruiter, then they will reach out to you further about a telephonic round and interviews. Telephonic round is just an extension of your resume round where they ask you about what you've done. They check your coding profiles. They would like to know how many problems you've solved on Lead Code or CodeChef or Codeforces, whichever platform that you use. And they also check whether you've been consistently solving or whether you haven't been solving for the last 1 month or so. A little bit of that checking will happen. And then after the telephonic round, you have your interviews. So the interviews are all the same for irrespective of your STEP or your SWE or your on campus, off campus. There are two technical interviews. In certain cases, if they're unsure about it after two, they have a third round as well. But this is not for everyone. It happens only 5 to 10% of the time. Now, in the interview, they ask only DSA related questions. And it's not about, they won't ask you what have you done in your project, or they won't ask you oops questions of other computer science fundamentals. They'll give you medium level lead code questions. If for the SWE step internship, it will be slightly easier level. For SWE, they'll ask harder level, of course, because you've got one more year to prepare and hone your skills. So they will give you the question, then it is up to you how you approach it, how you understand the constraints, asking clarification questions. There's a lot of in-depth thing that goes on behind the interview preparation segment itself. But as of now, I just want to give you an overview so that you can ask your doubts about the process, and then I'll get into resume review in detail. Then how do you go about interview preparation in more depth. So this is the entire process. After your interviews get over, it'll take about a month for them to release the results, and then you'll know whether you're selected or not. In certain cases, they don't release. If you're not selected, they might not even release a rejection, and it just goes on endlessly. So that is also a possibility. But if you're selected, usually you get to know a month or a month and a half after your interview. So this is just the entire process, what happens for STEP and SWE internships. For the Women Engineers program, for those of you who are in your first year, they have 4 rounds of selection. The first is your aptitude round. Because you're in your first year, they don't expect you to have very advanced coding skills. Now, but you need to have strong aptitude in terms of, because you prepared for JE and competitive exams, right? Like some of you must have prepared for NTSE, which have logical reasoning and ability. So it will have an aptitude round, then will be a language round to ensure you're able to communicate in English fluently. Then it'll have a coding round where they'll give you 5 questions, MCQs, as well as simple coding questions, which you'll be required to solve and pass the test cases. And finally, an interview. Interview is more of them checking if you are a good fit for the program, because it is completely sponsored and it is a huge commitment in terms of time, because every day you'll have about 1.5 to 2 hours classes. So it's a pretty rigorous program, and they want to make sure that you are committed for 2 years. You have the bandwidth. You have handled multiple things in the past for them to get the confidence that you'll be able to manage this with college. That's kind of what the interview is about. So that is the process for the WE program. So now I'd like to take any questions if you have about the selection process of STEP, SWE, or the WE program. Have Okay, applications for STEP has it closed? I am not too sure. Let me just open the careers page right now. Um, it was open a while back. Like last time I checked, 2 weeks back, it was open. I'm not too sure if it's still open right now. And when will the application for WE program start? It will start in January or late December, and it will go on for a month. The languages, you can choose any language that you want. All three of the both the internships as well as we, you can do it in C++, Java, Python, C, any language. Can BSc student apply? That is highly doubtful because I'm not sure actually. But if you go to the careers portal, it clearly mentions what branches are allowed to apply. Is it a BSc in computer science? Because they mentioned that it has to be a computer science course, so I don't think it matters too much if it's a BTech or a BSc. But it is, yes, Manik.
So yes, for those, if you can switch on your mic, then ask your question, it would be very great because just like the question BSc honors. So if you can explain your question via mic, then that would be great, and that thing encourages your confidence. So you can raise your hand and ask your questions if it's okay. Otherwise, you can write in the chat section. But I encourage you can switch on your mic. Yes, Vanshika, go on.
Hello Divina. So my question is that I'm currently doing the DSA sheet by Striver. So I'm on the binary search part. So I want to ask that do I have to complete the whole sheet and then start applying for any type of internship which ask for DSA? Or should I side by side try to go through the DSA rounds or something?
Yes, I would highly recommend going side by side because I think at least what you've been used to in school and maybe initial part of college is a very rote learning kind of method where you have the syllabus, you complete the syllabus, then you give the exam. But in college, it's much more dynamic. So not a lot of people will have that 100% confidence, then go for things. So I think waiting for you to completely be thorough with the sheet and then starting to apply is doesn't make too much sense. You do side by side, you apply as well as you keep solving the sheet. So because you can't say that I am 100% done with DSA because the questions are endless and the preparation is also endless. So I would say start with your preparation and don't miss any opportunity because you don't feel you're not ready. Even if you think it is the most out of your league opportunity, just apply for it and see what happens.
One more question. I'm also doing like open source stuff side by side. So,
That's great.
yeah, do you have any experience in that? How to manage both of them? Because it becomes really hectic to manage both of them side by side.
Are you talking about like GSOC or independent contributions on
Actually, I have
it?
been contributing independently for 6 months, and now I'm aiming for GSOC.
Okay, that's great. I think if GSOC is a wonderful program in itself. So I haven't been through that, but you can't do GSOC and an internship. But if you've already been contributing so much, I would think that's great because not a lot of people will be gunning for open source, so a little less competition from that side of things. So I would suggest talk to someone who has done GSOC, and you can even request it from the host. He might be able to arrange a session for you. But if you are gunning for that and you've been contributing consistently, you have a good shot at that. I would say go for it. Don't sidetrack that because of your internship.
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, actually, we have organized a session on GSOC. This question, okay, no worries. You can ask this question from Angel. She's in WhatsApp group, Vanshika. Okay,
Yes, sure. Thank you.
okay. Riddhi, please go on.
Yeah, sure. Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
So my question is that apart from GSOC and this, I've also explored a Google site which is built with India, which is
Mhm.
quite valuable for even internships and apprenticeship or short-term works. So can you please brief me with even such application process which is considered in Google?
So, y- um, Build with India is more of a resource page for you to learn how to prepare and improve your skill set. It is not a feeder into their selection process. So, Google has mainly three ways of selection. One is their on campus recruitment through the colleges they visit, one is off campus through the career portal, and the third one is through their hackathons and certain, yeah, basically there's a Google Girl hackathon that takes place around in the summer months. If you are selected for the finals of that hackathon, or if you win the hackathon, they might reach out to you for opportunities. Those are the three primary streams of intake in Google. Earlier they used to have hash code and code jam and things, and that also used to feed into their selection pipeline. But right now, through these three only. We is not a feeder into the Google program. It's an independent program.
Okay, okay, got it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Uh, yes, now before proceeding with another question, I would like to ask in the end of the session, I'll send a feedback form. So kindly everyone fill that feedback form and stay tuned. Now let's coming back to the questions. Srija, you can ask your question, please.
Good evening, everyone. So I had some specific questions regarding with the V program. So I didn't make any project till now on any language. I have seen that not specifically projects. One of my seniors got V and took a certificate course or something. Stanford code in place. She has done Stanford code in place, but I didn't do anything specific in this in specific things like this, like coding place or anything, GSOC or something. So we need to show any project in this cases or what? I don't have any idea regarding this.
See, for we, they are very aware that you are just first year students. They don't expect you to have internship experience or extensive project experience. For them, it's more of seeing how much initiative you can take, how curious you are to learn. So when you're applying for it, you would have been done with one semester in college. So it is also a very competitive program because they're sponsoring everything for 2 years. Uh, and they are giving it's a huge time resources. They're giving you mentors, they're giving you material, a pathway to learn. So they won't take every single person who's doing only what is required by college in 6 months. They want to see how much extra have you done in those 6 months. Are you strong enough in your fundamentals? There should be at least one programming language which you are comfortable with, in which you can solve basic aptitude problems. Like you should be able to solve like simple recursion problems, or um, operations. They won't ask you complex programming dynamics, but if someone asks you a riddle and you solve it, you should be able to do that in code as well. So basic, but testing your concepts. One thing is you should know programming language. Another thing, in terms of resume, you should have a couple of projects at least. And when I say projects, I don't mean full fledged 6 month involving projects. It could also be a project that you've done only for a week and then something has come out of it. There are so many resources. There are guided tutorials on YouTube on how to do project in different domains. So they don't expect you to come up with something original or something very complex, but they want to see that you have taken the time and effort to learn how to do a domain. Like you can explore projects on back end or front end or ML. It's all the resources are available. It will take probably a weekend, just a weekend, for you to come up with a simple project. So have, when you're applying for we, to make sure that you're standing out, have at least two projects, I would say. Apart from that, one very strong programming language, and solve questions like lead code easy questions before applying. That's what I'm saying. The questions are easy, but you should be comfortable in the programming language. And another thing with me is they give you the resources to prepare. So it's not like you're going in blind. So if you take care of all of these things, and for the aptitude round, it's a very time intensive round. You have to solve within 1 minute those questions. So it requires some preparation for you to manage your time properly.
Yes,
If you keep
so
all of
can you
these,
refer any app or something for the aptitude part and the English part, English round and aptitude round?
I have some
Any,
resources which I
you can,
use, uh, which help me. I can share that with you. I'll have to look for it a little bit, but I can definitely find it out and share it with Manik, and he can share it with you later on.
okay, okay. And
There
another
are web
question is, which will be the preferred language to code in for V? Like if I know C and Python, so which language will be preferred for coding?
So once they start the program, they start teaching you Python in Python only. So Python, I would say Python is preferred.
Okay, 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 fine, fine. Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Harshita,
And
please ask. Sorry,
and
go on.
so, and can I get the WhatsApp group link? Actually, I'm new to this program. Someone is telling in the chat also. The
Okay, like you
WhatsApp
can
group
fill
link.
out the application of
Yes, I've
in the
already filled
WhatsApp.
in today.
Okay, you fill it today.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I filled it already today only.
okay, one of our member will add you. No worries. Okay,
Okay, fine.
sure. Harshita, please ask your question. Uh, if Harshita is not available, Vanshika, please ask your question.
Hello, am I
If
audible?
yes, audible.
Okay, so, ma'am, the most trickiest thing.
Harshita, you switched off.
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Hello, no, you're
Yeah, we
audible.
can hear you.
Huh. So, in the initial days before the college starts, I am continuing my data structures. In basically the first language which I started with was Java. Then I shifted to C++. So, after getting in the college, as with the data structures, I can't participate in the most of the hackathons that is more oriented to Web D or Web 3 sort of things. So, I switched from data structures to the development part.
Okay, so DSA and development are completely different streams.
Hmm.
No hackathon will be based on DSA if you look at it. So
Yes, correctly.
so DSA is something you use for interview preparation. I mean, for selection for internships and recruitment. And another use of DSA would be for your competitive programming. So these are two streams where DSA is used for, and development will be used for your projects, hackathons, competitions, and action. The work that you do in your internship, that is pure dev work. So when it comes to that there are different domains. Like you have web development, you have app development, you have back end, front end, you have AI, ML. So all of these are different domains in which you can build your projects. And ultimately, in hackathon, there will be around 5 tracks where you choose a track, you choose a problem statement, and then you build a project for that. So you need to be firstly proficient in a domain, and then you find teammates who are proficient in the other domains, and you all come together and then you build a project.
So here the main problems come is that recently a coin DCX type of hackathon was organized. So it's more prominently like Bitcoin, or we can say blockchain related.
Okay, so
So
yes.
as I'm doing Web3 that time. So to
Okay, let's.
switch from to switch from that particular development part to the blockchain part was a bit difficult for me that time.
So, okay, your question. You can decide if you want to go in the Web3 segment or Web Dev segment. In Web3 segment, you just need to know the fundamentals, because I am particularly in Web3 segment. So, and yes, you need to like learn the language, whether it be Solidity or Rust. That would be enough. Rest, it's all about Web 2 fundamentals. I guess, Harshita, are you talking about Unfold, the hackathon which
Yeah,
created
Unfold
Banner?
it was.
Yes, so it's just a thing that you need to decide if you want to go into the web dev and web3 and DevOps. There are many fields. So it's just the fundamental is same, only the syntax differs and a little bit concepts. Nothing more. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. And Vanshika, you're the next one. Please go on.
Yes, so my question is that which type of projects can be categorized as good projects? As I have shared a link of my projects in the like the comments and messages section. So can you please describe about what kind of projects can we call as good projects, like the full stack ones?
Okay, so if you want more personalized guidance, I think it's best if you message me on LinkedIn, then I can give you feedback. But I'll just give you what my mentors have taught me about identification of a good project. There should be something which is unique, which is not available on every, what happens is when there are some projects which are extremely common and easily available on the internet, like mood based music recommendation or hand gesture detection. Uh, so things like this, you'll find hundreds of codes for it, and you just need to copy paste a repository and you'll be done. Now, if your project is so generalized, then it will be of lesser impact and value when a reviewer looks at your resume. But if it is something which is unique, if there is something that you have explored and implemented, projects which are based on research papers are the most impactful projects, because someone has taken the time to do the analysis and say this is what is the most up and coming thing and this is worth investing, and then you have explored that and found a solution, built a solution from the ground up. But this will also require more expertise from your end, something I would say suggest you pick up in your late second year or third year once you're done a couple of projects. So one is uniqueness, the other one is your impact. So you should have measurable metrics which you can put in your resume to say that this is the work that I have done. Suppose you've increased operational efficiency by 30%, or your ML model has achieved a 98% accuracy. Now, when someone reads your resume, they know that this is the outcome of your project. And things that can have a demo, like suppose I built one of my projects was an aid to the blind. So using your mobile phone, they get an audio description of the surroundings. If a demo for that is linked in my resume, then that will be more impressive. There should be well defined outcomes for your project. It should not just be uh, an internal tool or something that like a part of something bigger. It should be complete in itself for someone to view and understand. And the third thing is the technology that you use. If as Manik was saying, if someone uses something interesting like Haskell or Go or Rust in one of their projects, that immediately catches anyone's attention, because usually people follow typical JavaScript, HTML, CSS. So if you use an interesting programming language, something not as common but interesting, then it makes the project stand out more. So I just say these are 3 points which you can keep in mind when you build your projects. And there are, of course, full stack projects which are heavily valued because they are end to end, they have a front end, back end database. So those are also typically group projects which add weightage to your profile. Does that answer your question?
Yes,
Sure.
ma'am. And actually, I made a project related to a collaborative code editor where people can make a group and directly commit their messages or changes from there only. So, is it categorized in a good project, or I can improve it further using AI?
One thing that people, I feel, make the mistake is they think AI is required everywhere, where actually it isn't required everywhere. It's just something people try to fit in. But you should first look at the problem statement and see if AI is required. Like, why would you need any sort of prediction for some system that requires concurrent handling? So, just that's one question everyone needs to ask themselves. I feel, especially when I recently went for a hackathon judging, and people just try to include AI, but it doesn't make sense for AI to be there, and it's just wasting your latency and increasing it. So I don't think so, but it depends on the some metrics for your success might be how many users at once can access the document. How do you process the saving? How are you updating in real time? Is it taking reloading every time someone makes a change? Or just I think user efficiency is something that you can consider. I don't have too much context. I just have a couple of lines what you said, but based on what you say, just if it's usable, if it's easy, if it doesn't have any drastic drawbacks, like you have to, so someone's commit is going missing, someone's data is going missing, or if there is immediate shutdown, it needs to restore to the previous version, things like that. So just features, I would say. Make sure whatever you're doing very well, and you're doing better than what is available on the internet.
And one more thing, what kind of research can we do if we are not from the ML and data science field?
Research is a very vast field where you can do anything. Like, I have friends who are exploring fields like quantum computing. Someone is trying to understand how blockchain and mining, data mining works. And there's just a lot of interesting fields. It doesn't make sense to, if you want to explore fields, read research papers. uh, you can watch the showcases of different companies. Like Google has their showcases online, Microsoft also. Every company has their annual product release and the technologies that they're working on. So when you might want to read more about it, articles, blogs, technical newsletters. So things like that only help you understand what you're interested in and then go further into research.
Yes, thank you so much for answering all my queries.
No problem.
And we have the first question in the chat from Neha that she asked at 7 p.m. So, Neha, can you please ask your question?
Actually, sir, I was asking about the intuition-based learning which ma'am was talking about at that time.
Yes, yes, you
Okay,
can ask.
sure. So
So I just wanted to ask
yeah,
what actually
so
it is.
mhm. Okay, so when I started off with my preparation, I when I was watching YouTube videos, I was referring Quora, Reddit, and all kinds of platforms. I was getting advice from my seniors. There is just so much of different methods of approaching questions that it kind of confuses you, right? So you read material about each data structure, linked lists, arrays, and then you try to solve problems on LeetCode. That did not work for me because the theory or the concept of a data structure and the practical implementation is quite different. Like if you read 10 pages about linked list, doesn't mean you know how to build a node in a linked list and then add nodes or do that kind of work. So I felt that was very disconnected in terms of first do the theory, then do the practical thing. That is one approach of doing it. Another approach of doing it is just focus on solving questions, and then if you don't get the answer, go see the discussion session where the solutions will be given. Read the code, copy the code, paste it, and then do that for every time you get stuck. So these were the common things. These were things that I tried but did not work for me. Then I came across something which is called intuition based learning. So what happens if you follow the other two methods is you might be able to solve one question when you approach it, but if someone twists the question or changes a certain parameter and asks another question on the same data structure, I found that I was getting confused. And I was like, I have solved 5 questions. I know how to solve those 5 questions. But when a sixth question hits me, I get confused and I get lost. And that was obviously affecting my confidence also, because I thought I was comfortable with this data structure, but because I was following such a rigid approach, if there's something that has changed or if you're asking me to optimize in different ways, I couldn't handle that. And so even after doing DSA for a couple of months, I was like, why am I not able to do questions which are new to me? So that's when I came across intuition based learning. I code in Python, like including DSA. So NeetCode was a platform that I used. It's a YouTuber who solves lead code questions in Python and uploads it. If you're doing it in C++, there's Striver. If you're doing it in Java, there's YouTubers like Kushal. And so what happens is in that NeetCode videos, the first segment was explaining the question, what the question asks. The second segment was explaining how you think about the question, how you associate that question with the data structure. Many a times, the same question can be done using multiple data structures. You can do it using recursion, you can do it using dynamic programming, you can use other caching mechanisms. So in that intuition segment, they explained how you identify what data structure to be used for which question and how to optimize in terms of space and time. Time complexity optimization makes you arrive at a different solution, and space complexity in a different solution most of the times. So each question, I was able to think about it from multiple perspectives, and at least they explain 3 approaches. One is brute force, more optimized, most optimized. And then they show the code in the end of the video. So initially, when I was starting off with this approach, I used to watch till the end and then understand and then see the code and then write my own and then close it and then write the code in the lead code question. Over time, I stopped seeing the code. Like after a couple of weeks, I stopped seeing the code. I paused after the intuition and I started doing it based on what approach they've explained. I wrote my own code and then I used to submit. And I think after a month or a month and a half or two, I could just come up with my own approaches because of how the explanation is, how they approach. I started understanding the intuition. When you look at a question, I was able to do the mapping by myself, and then I used to come up with approaches. Then I stopped the video when they explained the question, and then I used to think, okay, this is one way to do it, this is one other way, and then I used to watch the video to see if I missed any approaches. So over time, I became very confident in solving questions in multiple angles. Now, I did not understand the importance of this or the value of this because even if you have a rote-based learning and you know how to solve individual questions and you solve, like, say, 100 to 100 questions, even then you can clear your OAs and things. But in interviews, what happens is they might twist the question when you're halfway through solving it, or they might introduce something which is an additional parameter that you need to take into account. Like, let's say initially they tell you that the array is sorted in a descending order, and then they say, okay, now we're not telling you that it's sorted in any way. So then you have to handle that case. So they might just make it so much more dynamic. They want to see if you can think on your feet. And because every question which I was solving, I was thinking so much in depth. It was not, for me, it was not about the lead code passing the test cases and then submitting the problem. For me, it was all the angles at which I can approach this question. That is what basically intuition based learning is. So when I started approaching that, the number of questions I could solve in a particular time reduced because I was thinking so much in depth. But when in interviews I encountered situations where they made rapid changes, I was also able to adapt and then give solutions according to their requirements. So it is a very, your concept becomes so strong, and you are able to handle situations or unknown questions much in a much better way. So that is, I hope, that's a pretty long answer, but that was one method which truly changed things for me.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Neha. That was the most insightful question that I found. Nice question and amazing answer given by Divina. Now moving forward, Shreya,
Thank you.
please ask your question.
I have one doubt. Like in OS, we are supposed to come up with the brute force or the optimal, or the most optimized solution. Because in some cases, I feel like brute force is satisfied, the test cases is passed. But are we supposed to submit the brute force or the optimized one for
See,
OS?
OS is a little tricky game because if an optimized solution, a fully formed optimized solution comes to your mind, go ahead and code that, because you also have a very strong time restriction. So you want to make sure that all your test cases pass. It should not be like you write the brute force for every question and then only half the test cases are passing, and then you have to rethink and then write the optimized solution and then pass the rest of the test cases. But in case you are have no idea about the optimized solution, you have to think a lot. I would say code out the brute force, let it pass how many ever test cases it can, and then start thinking of the optimization if nothing comes to mind. If a good approach comes to your mind and you feel you'll be able to follow through, start with the optimized, because always it's better to have at least 50 to 60% of the test cases passing rather than you trying to come up with the perfect solution and in the end you have no time for to submit the question itself. So I would say always is a matter of time and test cases passing. It's not too much based on your concept. So you don't need to go to the highest level of optimization. Whatever works. The always the thing is they have very clear instructions as to what the expectations are. In interviews, it can they don't give you this is the edge cases. In OA, if you read the question read correctly, you kind of get a sense of what the edge cases can be because of the way the question is formatted. So if you feel the brute force will be able to handle everything, then go ahead with the brute force. But in some cases, you know that there is a lot of parsing, there's a lot of iterative data accessing, or there's a extensive recursion, things like that. You know for sure that it won't pass all the brute force will not pass all test cases. So in such a case, you know that dynamic programming is the way to go. So it makes more sense to explore that rather than go for the brute force. I think that's a bit of a tricky thing to gauge, but over time you'll be able to sense where to go where, what to do where.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Yes, Bhumika, please ask your question.
Oh, hello, ma'am. Good evening. Actually, my question was that, like, apart from following a DSA sheet like Stivers, what other questions we can aim? Like, should we do randomly questions on lead code, or should we give the contest? Like, what is your suggestion on that?
Contests are extremely important. The Java channel is Kushal Kushwaha, so I'm not sure if he's still posting actively, but I went through his playlist a couple of years back. It was good. A simple Google search will also give you the latest best programmers for each programming language. Coming back to your question, Bhumika, sorry, I completely forgot your question. That message just popped up. Can you please just give me a sense of what you asked again?
Yes, actually, I was asking, like, apart from following a sheet, what questions should we aim?
Yes.
Should we, like,
Okay.
randomly do?
Yes, contest questions are extremely. I feel giving contests was one thing I would do no matter what. So, like weekly and bi weekly contests. I might not have solved questions regularly throughout the week, but contests I gave because contest, the nature of contests is exactly the nature of your OAs. Uh, because you have a time restriction, you have a test case restriction, you don't have those solutions anywhere there on the internet for you to refer. One thing when you're solving questions on LeetCode is you might also give up in between and look at the solution for a hint. So in contest you can't do that. It's a simulation of an online assessment. So and it gives you like there's A B C. So if you're able to solve C, that means the contest went very well. If you're able to solve A and B, you should be able to solve A and B if you want to crack the top companies. So contests give you a very strong feel of the thing. So I would strongly recommend contests, but not just giving contests. What is more important than giving the contest is absolving. So after the contest, you go back, see what questions you were able to do, why you were not able to do certain questions, or how do you approach the questions that you were not able to do. So this process in itself will teach you a lot, and then you keep. I used to maintain notes of what I did right, what I did wrong, so that next time I would improve on that. And if you keep giving contests over time, you just become better, and then you know how to handle situations in online assessments as well.
So our focus should be on one sheet and giving the contests.
Yes, I think that is sufficient. And don't just rely on one sheet. If suppose you want to go for a company specific problem, so then you'll see on the internet that this year these are the questions that were asked for this company. So have a list of like 4 or 5 opportunities that you're really trying for, and then cross have a list for that as well. What are the top questions that were asked previously, so that you have tailored preparation for the opportunities.
Okay, thanks. Also, one more thing, like I wanted to confirm that did you mention that the CS fundamentals are not asked in the interview of
For
the
Google, for Google, yes.
uh,
For SWE
and
internship, they might weave it into your question, but they don't outright ask you CS fundamental questions.
sorry, can you please repeat?
I said they might weave it into the question, like they may say create a class and then have these operations. So essentially, that's using OOPS concept, but it is still DSA. So, but they won't ask you what is an equivalence class, or how do you have a parent class and a child class. They won't ask you any detailed theory questions.
Okay, and do they focus on projects in the interview section?
No, projects is your first round, your resume review. That's where they check projects primarily. And in telephonic rounds, they might ask you cross questions on your projects, not in interviews. In interviews, they might just, for like a conversation starter, they might say, what did you do in your project? But they won't give you a feedback based on that.
Okay, thank you. And can you please suggest like how should we choose a unique topic for our project?
I would, choosing a unique topic, see what domains you want to explore. Like you can read about the different domains, or one of the best ways of going about a project I feel I learned very late is look at the hackathon tracks and then backtrack. So that project will be useful in the future if you want to pre- submit it somewhere as well. So some things which are like healthcare is always a track in hackathons. Sustainability and environment friendliness is one thing. Then there is cyber security is one track. So if you go through a couple of hackathons that you're targeting, you can see targeted problem statements, and based on that, whichever interests you, you can build a project which solves something in that domain.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so it's been a quite of time we haven't addressed the questions in the chat. So before moving further with the hand raised, I would like to address those questions. Devishi has asked a question, but as she's not in the chat, so moving forward, uh, Raja Samvitha has asked, I have missed step in SWE and V. Can I apply right? I guess yes, you can apply in SWE. Uh, I guess she's in the chat. I did right. Or you want to ask something else, Raja? No, okay.
Okay.
So yes, you can apply. Okay. So Shruti has asked basically what aptitude topics should we focus on more along with DSA topics. DSA topics, I guess, Divina has already covered, and the level of lead code questions is already being covered. But aptitude topics you can cover. Uh,
Aptitude topics. So there are quite a few. Actually, I feel like if I share the resources with you, that will be good because there are at least 20 to 25 topics. So it doesn't make sense for us to go in depth into
sure.
what can be asked
Uh,
right now.
I'll share that in the WhatsApp group. And for those who want the link of the WhatsApp group, please stay at the end of this session. I'll share the WhatsApp group link here only. Okay. And next is Shilpa. What are the things expected in resume? Questions asked by Shilpa.
Uh, Sorry, can you repeat that?
Like there are a couple of questions regarding resume. Shilpa Bharti and asked the okay, Shilpa has asked Divina, can you please share your resume with us so that we can get an idea what things should be done and how to make a proper resume. So can you share the what I have observed from these questions? How should be a good resume template look like, or any particular standard template that is being followed in?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sure. So resume template. I don't mind sharing my resume as well. I can share it in the end. But one thing I've noticed is people make errors in formatting. They use Word or they use Google Docs, which is not very professional. Uh, Most of my friends in Google, like when I joined, all of us had LaTeX resumes. So LaTeX is a code editor. There's a website called Overleaf, which gives you very professional templates. So if I chose one of those templates and then I filled it out, and that's how I proceeded. It should always be one page because if it is more, the ATS itself tends to reject it, and um, the recruiter doesn't have time. Honestly, you're just an intern. You're not someone with 10 years of experience. So make it as concise as possible. In your resume, make sure that you have a skill summary session where you have the programming languages, the frameworks, the technologies that you have worked on mentioned clearly. Mention it in the descending order of familiarity. Whatever you're most comfortable with comes first, and mention in brackets how good you are at it. Like suppose you are an intermediate or an expert level in Python, but you're beginner in Golang. Mention that so that in the when they cross question you, you don't get caught in the crossroads. You say that you know Go and you can't solve this, but you should be able to say that I'm just learning it. So and projects always mention quantifiable measures of project outcomes, percentages. If you have achieved something like if you won a hackathon, if you won a competition, mention you came first among like 200 participants or how many ever teams they were. There should be numbers. They should be able to gauge the extent of your achievement. Suppose you won a scholarship, talk about how many applicants were there for that scholarship, what position you received, and things. So if you did volunteering work, mention that, positions in clubs and chapters. These are typically the components which are used in the resume of someone who's in college. Projects are very important. As you go into your second and third year, you will have internship experience, which also you need to mention.
Okay. And yes, Ashita, please ask.
Sorry to interrupting you, but as I mentioned that I'm in my first semesters. So both development and DSA are totally new to me. Like so I'm a bit confused that for which domain I should focus more, like to the development part or to the
Um,
DSA part.
I would say DSA you have some time because DSA they'll teach you in college as well, which is absolutely useless. But still, you'll have a little bit of idea in terms of theory what is happening, and then you can do your preparation on your own. But development is now is the time when you don't know anything, so you can explore everything as well. And so learn about different domains, make some projects, completely guided projects on YouTube, learn how to be familiar with operation tools like GitHub, how to push commits, and how to work on VS Code. Learn all of these things which are trivial, but it's important that you know them. So focus on that. I would say have some projects ready, so then when it comes a bit closer to applying for opportunities, you can focus completely on DSA and you don't need to worry about not having anything on your resume to start with. uh, Hackathons, try, just take part. You might be feeling so intimidated, I can imagine, first year of college, first semester, but try for it. Go see, it's always a learning experience. Be open to new opportunities, go for competitions. If your college has any technical chapters, join them, because that community is very helpful for you to grow. Clubs, they'll conduct events, take part in competitions that are taking place within your college. There are a lot of fresher team rewards also. Like they have certain expectations for third year, second year, fourth year students, but freshers, they have separate awards for them. So go for all the competitions and just explore the opportunities around you. Look at the profile of seniors. That's something I did in my first year. So someone who is in the company that I want to be in, let's say, 3 years from now, I went and saw what all they did. And if you go and check on people's LinkedIn posts, you can see the timeline of how they started. Like I remember my first LinkedIn post was a very, very low level coding competition, which was just, there were like 50 participants and I came like second or something. And that was my first post. So that's where I started. So all of us start at some level like that, but you get a timeline and a roadmap if you see their profiles and see what's there they've done. You also are aware of the opportunities that are available. So first year is more about planning, seeing what you want to do in college, exploring. Don't limit to DSA in that precious time that you get, I would say.
Yes, I hope that's answer your question, Harshita. And adding to that, if you are in first year, explore anything and everything, learn anything and everything. Okay, if you are fascinated by UI UX, learn UI UX. If you are fascinated by DSA, learn DSA, learn web dev, learn anything and everything. But in your second year, you can like narrow down the things. Now I have explored all the things. Now this is the thing that interests me. I should go in this field in detail. So that thing you can follow. Otherwise, we can also arrange a session particularly how to choose your career, especially for first year girls. Okay, that's no issues. But as we are high on time, so we'll be taking the last question of Vijay Lakshmi. Please, Lakshmi, ask your question.
Uh, Hello, I want to ask that in 11th and 12th I have studied Python, and in my college also I have Python. But like some of my seniors said that you have to do DSA in C++ or Java. So like I shifted from Python to C++. But I find Python easier than C++. So what should I do? Like do it in Python or do it in C++?
I honestly faced the same thing because I was very comfortable with Python, but uh, everyone was saying nobody does DSA in Python. So I was like, okay. So then I remember for I think 3 4 months I did DSA in all three programming languages. One question I do in Python, one in Java, one in C++. I wanted to see for myself what I like, and at the end of the day, like, see, the thing is, C++ is the most um, I would say suitable language for DSA because of how the different classes of, how it is structured in a language itself. It has the and the resources that are available for C++ also. There are a lot of resources for C++ in doing DSA, but for Python it's comparatively less. But for Python, the problem is there are a lot of inbuilt stuff because of which your concepts can become diluted. But let's say, so when you're doing Python, if an interviewer asks you for, can ask you more in-depth questions, and you can easily get caught off guard. Like, let's say the len function in Python, what is the time complexity of it? It is to find the length of an array. In most of the programming languages, it will be O of n. That is, you have to go through all of the elements in the array and then you come with an answer. But in Python, len is actually an O of 1 operation if you read through the documentation. So if you need to know the language, what you're doing in depth. So I went through Python documentation a couple of times. I knew what was going on internally behind the different functions, because of which I had a very good understanding of that. But I found C++ and Java a little bit more. It didn't come naturally to me. Uh, but this extra investment is required when you're doing Python. You need to know what each built-in function is doing and how it works internally. But apart from that, it doesn't matter what programming language you're choosing. It every single thing is fine. Like if Java is also good, C++ is also good, Python is also good. Whatever language you're choosing, make sure you know the ins and outs of it, and you should be able to solve without thinking. It should not be like you know the logic, but you're not able to code it because of syntax. That is the saddest thing. So, whatever language you're comfortable with, whatever you suppose you choose to do C++, make sure you know everything in C++ from A to Z. So, just keep that in mind. You should be strong in that language, not just strong in DSA, strong in the language as well to handle such things.
Okay, I have one more question. Like I'm in first year, so I will be applying for V scholarship. I want to know that is there any CGPA criteria for that?
No, no.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and
No problem.
at the last moment, why everybody asks questions? So I request Divina, can you please answer questions in like 1 or 2 lines? Because
Sure.
it's already been 1 hour. It's not from my side because I'm ready to invest my 3 to 4 hours, but your time is really valuable. Okay. Hina is asking how to balance a development and DSA both. Like, uh, yes, and
Both of
what
them
is
are
more
important.
important that used in
Yeah.
your journey?
Both are equally important, I would say, because you can get an internship, but if you don't know development, what will you go and do sitting in the company? You need to get a return offer. That means you need to know how a certain amount of development as well. How I balanced it, obviously, it's not the same thing, so you can't prepare for it at the same time. So I used to do DSA on my weekdays. Weekends I used to get more time, so I used to do some projects and work on them. Just find time for it on your calendar, separate slots. If there's a hackathon, obviously I spend more time on development. If there is an interview coming, I spend more time on DSA. And understand your priorities at different times and give slots for working on both of them. Is what I would say.
Amazing. And Ishita is asking for college. I had to do DSA in C, but should I continue with C only for DSA or switch to Java? Because I guess
I
Java is
would
more popular.
suggest, yes, Java is definitely more popular, and Java is used in companies to solve, like, for the internal coding as well. I haven't heard anywhere C is used so far, so I think Java switch makes sense.
I guess this answers your question, Ishita. And she is asking, could you please share important guidelines to keep in mind while, oh, SWOC, oh my God. Okay. It's
That is
just,
a completely different tangent. I feel like you can have a complete separate session for that.
yes,
It's not.
okay. Ashia, you can just ask this question in WhatsApp group and I'll answer this question in detail if you don't mind, please. Okay. And yes, but before moving, I just want to ask Divina, in a resume, do we have to add both the like our college, our 12th, our 10th, and CGPA?
10th, 12th CGPA, yes, education wise. Don't go in depth that I won this competition. I was a school captain in fifth standard of
No,
college
no, no,
school.
no. What
So
I'm asking, like you said that the resume should be of 1 page, and suppose
yes, yes.
then adding 3 things alone in the education section covers most of the part of the resume.
So what I did was just your first thing, your college name, the degree that you're doing, and then your CGPA. And then the second thing, the two bullet points under resume, I mean, your education basically. Second one would be your schooling and your 10th marks, your 12th marks, and then the dates of things. So that's
Okay.
all.
Like what I've seen
So
in some resume, people don't write about their schools. That's why I want to ask. They only write about their
I think
schools.
it's not a problem for companies in specific, but sometimes they do, like, after if two people have the same college CGPA, they might look into it. Especially college, your most of the colleges do look at that as well, for a certain amount of filtering, because they completely automate the process. So for them, my college has a lot of students, so they do look at it. So I don't know. It depends also. But you can mention it in a very concise way as well without too much into detail.
Okay. And Grace is asking how to prepare for aptitude. Divina will share the resources, Grace, and I'll share it in the WhatsApp group, and I'll share the link. Don't worry, I am here. I'm going nowhere. And Shreya, you are like clicking about the hand raise button for quite a few times. You can ask. You can ask.
Really sorry to interrupt both of you.
No worries, no worries. This shows your excitement.
Actually, I have. Yeah, I was excited for this from the past midnight, to be honest. Actually, have one doubt in development whether should do web or app, which one to explore because doing front end, back end, and everything is like everybody does. So people expect something different. I feel so. Which one should I prefer,
If
or
you want
something
something
new? Should,
different, then go for AIML. I would say it doesn't matter. Like honestly, front end, back end. I see. If you think about it from a practical perspective, you want an internship. Then I feel back end makes more sense because there are much more opportunities for back-end engineers and requirement also. Not a lot of people are very strong in their back-end. So if you want an internship in your second year or third year, I'm not talking about these top MNCs. I'm talking about a pre-intern. Like usually when you apply, you have another internship as well, which you've done in a startup. Most of my friends have done this. All of us have worked in some or the other startup at some point in college. So when you're looking for such opportunities, back-end roles are very, useful. If you want to just make money and do freelance work, front end is pretty lucrative. You make a few websites and then you get good number of freelance opportunities. So if you any of that is your priority, you can choose. If you just want to explore, AIML is, generative AI, everything is very booming these days. So everyone is going in that. And if at all companies make that a name, then you don't want to miss out, right? So you might want to do projects in that. Another thing is cloud. A lot of AWS certifications are being useful because my friends are sitting for placements right now, so I know exactly the current market situation. So Google Cloud certifications, AWS certification. So if you have a project which involves deploying in the cloud and using those operations, that is also becoming very useful these days. Data analytics is another field.
Amazing. So I guess Shreya, that's
thank you
answered
for
your
that.
question. And everyone, that's the last question. And it's group picture
So,
time.
are
So
you talking? Sorry, are you talking about the Google Cloud certifications like the labs or arcade games?
no, no,
Those?
arcade games not. There are like
But
special certifications for Google Cloud and
digital
AWS.
cloud leader.
Yes.
So you do 7, 8 courses. You pay for the exam. You give the certification.
It's a
Things like
paid
that.
course, Ashita. These arcade things is like promotion stuff for Google, which they are
Yeah.
doing. Okay. And you get to know about like search about Google certifications, and it's paid. You have to pay and then you have to give the examination. And if you pass, then you'll get the certificate. This is the criteria for it. Okay. And yes, everyone, if you're comfortable, please switch on your camera so that we can have a group picture and finally wrap the session. And I'll be sharing the feedback form and the WhatsApp group link here only. So those who want that, please stay. And yes, I'm waiting. Only two persons. Okay, only three persons. Like I considers the bravery and confidence of the people who opens their camera, but it's no worries. Everyone need to care of their surroundings as well. But I've taken a whole session saying why you need to switch on your camera in a meeting because this has given me a lot of opportunities. Ishita knows because she has been the attendee back then. So okay, no worries. Just give me a second. I need to change the layout because I'll be clicking.
Also,
Yes,
guys, if you join Google, it's compulsory for you to turn on your cameras in meetings.
yes,
So now is probably a good time to start.
definitely. Shares. Amazing. Still people are opening. Great. Happiness. Google, Divina, can we do we have a symbol for Google like something that people
uh, no, but we have a symbol for we, but that's like a W. But then it's fine. Anything works. Whatever makes you happy. Thumbs
Okay,
up or a please or anything.
okay, you can do that. and then I'll click the picture because my fingers
Okay.
should be busy in clicking the screenshot. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Amazing.
All right.
So, just remain here, everyone. I need to send the feedback form. I'm sorry, I've been delayed. I need to find the link. But thank you so much, Divina, for coming and sharing all your insights. And you
It's
feel,
totally worth to join this session.
yes, I
Oh,
can,
thank you so much.
like, you are the most exciting and curious person in this meeting. I can assure you. Like, I know this, I can relate with you in the first year. That is really good, this kind of mindset, and keep exploring and keep learning, and see you in upcoming sessions of ours. And with this, you're the most active attendee of this session. There are a lot of active attendees, but the excitement of you is truly stood out. All the way, uh, the kind of desperation you have, no worries. And you can message in the WhatsApp group or DM me if you are in the WhatsApp group, and we would like to feature you on our socials. And thank you so much, Divina, for coming and sharing
No
your valuable
problem.
insights.
Yes, no problem at all.